The movie is set in 1879 in a small town called Rose Creek, which is forcefully controlled by a corrupt baron and gold mining tycoon named Bartholomew Bogue, along with his army of armed men. Bogue aimed to take complete control of Rose Creek due to the abundance of gold mines in the region. In addition to bribing Sheriff Harp and enslaving the townspeople with extremely low wages, Bogue and his men acted arbitrarily, condemning the residents to a life of prolonged misery and poverty. Tired of the suffering they had endured since Bogue took over the town, the residents gathered in the church to discuss possible solutions to their current problems. They had to decide whether to give up their land in Rose Creek to Bogue or fight him and his men with all their strength. During the vote, Emma and her husband Matthew chose to keep their land and made it clear they would not hand it over to Bogue under any circumstances. In the middle of the meeting, Bogue arrived at the church with his armed men and announced that he intended to buy the townspeople's land for $20, a price far below its real value. He also ordered the residents to leave Rose Creek within 2 weeks, warning that if they didn't comply, he would not hesitate to kill women and children to force them out. These threats enraged the townspeople, who denounced him publicly. Unable to tolerate the criticism, Bogue burned down the church and murdered several people, including Matthew, to intimidate the rest. Days later, a man named Sam Chisholm, a well-known U.S. Marshal, arrived in the nearby town of Amador. Sam was on a mission to capture a criminal known as Powder Dan, who had committed numerous crimes. Upon entering a bar, Sam asked the bartender about the whereabouts of the outlaw he was pursuing. To his surprise, the bartender turned out to be Powder Dan in disguise. However, Sam was not fooled and recognized the criminal. This led to a shootout in which Sam ultimately defeated and killed Dan. While the other patrons of the bar fled to avoid getting hurt, a man named Joshua Faraday remained seated, watching the scene without showing fear or anxiety. After finishing off Powder Dan, Sam exited the bar, explained what had happened to the sheriff, and introduced himself as a U.S. Marshal before mounting his horse and leaving the town. Meanwhile, Emma and her friend Teddy were also in Amador, looking for someone who could help them drive Bogue and his men out of Rose Creek. Upon discovering that Sam was a marshal with exceptional combat skills, Emma and Teddy explained the abuses committed by Bogue and his men, pleading for his help. Emma offered Sam money collected through donations from the townspeople, hoping he could help them achieve justice and regain their freedom to live with dignity in their homeland. Meanwhile, Faraday, after winning some money gambling, was intercepted by a group of men who tried to kill him because they had lost a bet against him. Despite having 2 guns pointed at his head, Faraday stayed calm, pulled out a deck of cards, and showed them a few magic tricks before killing one of them. After neutralizing the attackers, Faraday quickly fled the scene intending to buy a horse, but he didn't have enough money. To his surprise, Sam showed up along with Emma and Teddy, bought the horse, and offered it to Faraday for free in exchange for helping him with a mission in Rose Creek. Faraday accepted without hesitation, especially after Sam gave him a few gold coins as a reward. On the way, Sam asked Faraday and Teddy to travel to a small village to find a man named Goodnight Robichaux, a former Confederate soldier known for his extraordinary sharpshooting skills that made him feared among his enemies. While Faraday and Teddy meet with Goodnight to ask him to join the mission in Rose Creek, Sam and Emma head into the forest in search of someone Sam knows who has great combat skills. When they arrive at a cabin deep in the woods, Sam discovers that his acquaintance has been killed by a criminal named Vasquez. Despite this, Sam holds no grudge and offers Vasquez a place on the team to drive Bogue out of Rose Creek. Upon learning he would be rewarded with gold coins, Vasquez immediately accepts the offer. Elsewhere, Faraday and Teddy reach the village they were looking for and witness a man named Billy demonstrating impressive skill by killing his opponent with a knife thrown from a great distance. Upon hearing Sam's name, Goodnight decides to join the mission and also invites Billy, who is his traveling companion. After leaving the village, the group reunites with Sam, who has now recruited Vasquez. Together, they set off on a 4-day horseback journey to Rose Creek. During a stop in an abandoned cabin, the group is approached by 2 men offering rifles that they claim belong to the legendary killer Jackhorn. However, one of the men is suddenly killed by a long-range shot. Moments later, Jack Horn appears, furious that his rifle had been stolen. Impressed by Jack's shooting skills, Sam invites him to join the team, and Jack accepts due to having no other commitments. That night, the group decides to camp on a hill near Comanche territory. During the night, Sam and Goodnight, who seem to have known each other for a long time, talk about Sam's past. The next morning, as they prepare to continue their journey, they're surprised by the arrival of a young Comanche warrior named Red Harvest, who decides to join the group. After a long journey, they finally arrive at Rose Creek. Before entering the town, Sam instructs his companions to spread out and take strategic positions to attack Bogue's men. When Sam enters the town, he encounters Sheriff Harp and Bogue's right-hand man, McCann, who confront him and demand that he surrender his weapon. McCann, trying to intimidate Sam, warns him that he has 22 armed men ready to attack. However, Sam ignores the threat and, after confirming that his companions are in position, provokes McCann into gathering all his men. Before McCann and his group could attack, Sam and his companions showcased their sharpshooting skills, swiftly eliminating McCann's men. During the confrontation, Goodnight showed signs of post-traumatic stress from his past as a Confederate soldier, which prevented him from shooting even when facing an enemy directly. Faraday and Billy try to help him overcome his fear, and eventually, Goodnight managed to recover and join the fight. After defeating McCann's men, Sam ordered Sheriff Harp to deliver a message to Bogue, stating that he and his team would free the residents of Rose Creek from his oppression. Meanwhile, Emma gathered the townspeople to welcome their saviors, who were now known as the Magnificent Seven. However, despite the group's impressive skills, many residents remained skeptical about whether they could truly defeat Bogue and his infamous, brutal army. In response to the situation, Sam addressed the townspeople, offering them a choice: stay and defend their home with body and soul, or abandon the town to prioritize their own safety. Some chose to leave, unwilling to risk their lives in a potentially deadly battle. Nevertheless, most residents, including Emma and Teddy, chose to stay and fight for their freedom and their land, even if it meant putting their lives on the line. Knowing they had only 7 days before Bogue's army arrived, Sam and his companions devised a plan to train the citizens in weapon use and combat. Billy taught them how to fight with knives, while Faraday and Sam trained them to shoot accurately. Then, the Magnificent Seven launched a surprise attack on Bogue's gold mine, killing all the guards and freeing the enslaved workers. Inside the mine, they discovered numerous explosives, which Sam planned to use in their mission to defeat Bogue and his men. Meanwhile, in Sacramento, Sheriff Harp arrived at Bogue's estate to deliver Sam's message. Enraged by the news, Bogue vented his fury by killing the sheriff. He then ordered his Comanche enforcer, Denali, and McCann to gather as many men as possible, arm them, and march toward Rose Creek to retake the town. The next day, Sam assigned Billy to keep watch from the church tower and alert the group of Bogue's approach, while the others helped the citizens set up traps around the town as the first line of defense. That night, Goodnight, still tormented by his past and afraid of dying if he killed again, decided to leave town. Emma offered to take his place. Sam then asked Faraday and the rest if they still wanted to continue the mission or follow Goodnight's example. He made it clear that he would not force anyone to stay, as each had the right to decide their fate. To his surprise, Faraday and the others chose to continue the mission and fight to protect the people of Rose Creek. The next morning, Sam, his companions, and the townspeople prepared to face Bogue and his army, estimated to be around 200 strong. The battle began, and most of Bogue's men were quickly taken out by the traps, bombs, and ambushes set up by the Magnificent Seven and the citizens. The battle was intense, but the group's skills, combined with the support of the residents, helped eliminate the majority of Bogue's men. Sam's strategic planning proved effective in minimizing civilian casualties. In the heat of battle, Faraday, on his way to execute his next move, was ambushed by Bogue's men and shot in the stomach. Before they could finish him off, Vasquez arrived just in time and took out the attackers. At that moment, Goodnight returned to rejoin the fight and assist in defeating Bogue's remaining forces. He also warned them that Bogue still had mercenaries and a powerful Gatling gun, which he planned to use to destroy them all. Soon after, Bogue and his remaining men began firing the Gatling gun from a nearby hill, killing many townspeople, and even some of his own mercenaries. Outgunned, the Magnificent Seven evacuated the survivors to the destroyed church to mount a final stand. During the assault, Jack tried to protect Teddy from the Gatling's bullets. After ensuring Teddy's safety, Jack was ambushed and killed by Denali. Denali then entered a building where Emma and another resident were hiding. But before he could harm them, Red Harvest appeared and killed him. Meanwhile, Faraday devised a plan to destroy the Gatling gun. He asked Sam to cover him as he ran toward the weapon's position. Goodnight and Billy helped by drawing enemy fire, sacrificing themselves in the process. Faraday managed to reach the Gatling and, in a final act of heroism, sacrificed himself by blowing it up along with the remaining gunmen. With only 2 men left, Bogue entered the town and ordered a search of every building. Shortly after, Sam confronted them and quickly eliminated the mercenaries before shooting the gun out of Bogue's hand. Wounded, Bogue took refuge in the church, where Sam revealed that his family had been murdered in 1867 by ex-Confederate soldiers hired by Bogue to drive settlers out of Kansas. Sam urged Bogue to repent before attempting to strangle him. When Bogue reached for a hidden revolver, Emma shot and killed him. In the end, the people of Rose Creek returned to their town and thanked Sam, Vasquez, and Red Harvest for their bravery before the 3 men rode away. Faraday, Robichaux, Billy, and Horn were buried near the town and honored as heroes. In a closing voiceover, Emma reflected on the noble sacrifice that turned the Magnificent Seven into true legends.